Good afternoon and welcome. Today's webinar, Managing Information and Interruption Overload, is hosted by the ABA Legal Technology Resource Center. Speaking today will be Brett Owens from Crometa. The Legal Technology Resource Center is an ABA member benefit provided by the Law Practice Management section of the ABA. The LTRC has been providing lawyers with legal technology guidance for more than 25 years. You can find a variety of legal technology articles, guides, videos, and other resources on our website at www.lawtechnology.org or on our blog www.lawtechnologytoday.org. Brett Owens is the CEO and co-founder of Crometa, which develops automatic time tracking software for solo and small firm attorneys. Unlike traditional time tracking systems, which require you to constantly input or record your time throughout the day, Crometa automatically captures and categorizes all the time that you spend on your computer and smartphone with no interaction or data entry required. Thank you all for joining us. We hope you enjoy the presentation.
Thank you, Josh, and thank you for joining us today. We're going to talk about how to tackle interruption and information overload in the year 2013. So taking a look at time management and adapting it to the digital age in which we all live and work and run our practices. So important thing, I think, when thinking about time management today is that it's 2013, this is not 1913. So a lot of the time management advice that we're used to hearing, such as focus on one thing and just work and then block out all interruptions, it's a lot harder to do that today than it was even 2, 3, 5, 10 years ago, and it may not even be possible to do that today. So what we want to look at is ways that we can actually get more time. So instead of working working a little bit more and getting a little bit more from our time, what we want to actually do is get a little bit of scale from our time. So eliminate activities and eliminate interruptions, because otherwise no amount of time management advice is really going to help us out. It's all going to be incremental improvements, and it's going to be hard to hang on to those gains versus all the interruptions that, as you know, come in during the day. As your phone's ringing and your email client is blowing up, what do we do? Sort of how do we still get stuff done in this crazy environment? Okay, so what we're going to talk about first is automation. So we're going to talk about automating stuff so that you can have your computer, your smartphone, your software actually working for you instead of being a constant source of your interruptions. And today we're going to focus on how you can do that for your business development. I know there's a lot of work out there about how you can automate your practice. In this initial section, we're going to focus more on business development, which is an area where everyone always says and agrees that you should spend more time and devote more time to business development, finding new clients. Well, how do we do that? And do we actually want to devote more time, or do we just want to be more effective in how we do the business development? Second major topic will be email. As you know, email, big source, major source of time for most of us. We're going to talk about 5 ways to corral email. And then we're going to close looking at the interruptions that do come in. So we know we're going to get interrupted. We're going to do our best to reduce those interruptions. But those that do come in, how do we capture and quantify those so that we can actually bill for those and get paid for our time? Okay, so what we're going to look at first is automating our marketing, our sales, business development. So we want to look at this because we know we just don't have enough time now to focus on business development as we would like to. We could hire people to do it, but they're just not going to be as good as we are in terms of selling ourselves. They're, humans are they're just not as scalable, and they're just not as good really as you are going to be. So the answer to this is then, how do we scale you? How do we get more leverage from your efforts so that you can do something once? Which brings me to my next slide. So basically, you want to do everything just once and then set up a machine that can repeat that over and over. So we want a machine that brings you leads, qualified leads, follows up with your leads for you, and then moves your leads through the sales process. So our goal is that when you talk to a prospective client, they are mostly pre-sold on you. You don't have to take them from step 1 all the way to becoming a client. You can sort of have this quote-unquote machine, if you will, do that front end for you, and then you talk to them when they're more pre-sold on you and your expertise. Then we're going to go through some ways how to do that with technology and software. Okay, so first thing we're going to talk about is how to win Google. Because if you can do well in Google, it's going to really help your inbound flow of leads. This is just where people go when they're looking for services today. So this is the first technique we're going to look at. And we're sort of looking at a little offbeat thing. So as far as I know, you hopefully won't hear this anywhere else because this is something we sort of figured out on our side, and we're going to share with you today. So here's how we do it, and I'm going to take you through a couple examples. So what I want you to do maybe after the call today, or you can do it now, is type, you open up your web browser, you go to Google, and you type in the phrase that you want to rank for. So as when a prospective client is looking for you, what's the phrase that you want to rank for? What you do is you just kind of start typing, and then Google will autocomplete, and what they're actually telling you is what those most popular terms are. So they'll say, well, you're probably looking for something like this. So what they're telling you is that these are what people are searching for. So what you can then do is you can pick one of those terms and then create either a micro site on your website or just create a new blog post. We'll show you how to do all this so that it tells Google this is the top rank for this particular phrase, and you want to talk to Joe here. And then we're going to have a call to action at the end of the article, at least collect the email address, and then we'll show you what to do with the email address so that you can follow up with this person, have virtual you follow up, and sort of send out those first couple emails, get the prospective client warmed up. Okay, so here's an example. Here's actually a real-world example. This is how a mattress salesman down the street from us got a couple $1,000s in business from us in about 20 minutes. By the time we walked into the store, we were already pre-sold, ready to buy a mattress. He just had to point us to which mattress to buy, and he was good to go. So how we did the search, and actually my wife was the one doing the search, she typed in organic mattress, and those are in Sacramento, so it auto-completed for us, and then the search came up. And if you look at the third organic link down, so this is actually going to be the sixth link down the page, but the third one in white, which is Google's organic. So it means that he did not pay for this link. All he had was a well-written article that ranked third in Google's perspective for an organic mattress in Sacramento. So we see it says, why buy an organic mattress, Sacramento, California, sleep well. So my wife clicked on the article here, and here's an article, why buy an organic mattress, 5 reasons for buying an organic mattress. You see up in the URL as well, he says organic mattress. So what this is doing is it's telling Google, this is a good site for organic mattresses in Sacramento. And also the article is well written, so it's not just something that was written by a bot. It has all the sort of nomenclature that Google would want to see, but also it's good for a human. So when my wife read this, she's like, well, wow, this guy really knows, and Joe was actually his name, Joe really knows what he's talking about. I like what he's doing here. We should go to the store. And then you see in the lower right, it kind of gets cut off in the screenshot. It says get instant access, download this free download now. Here's where he takes your email address. So, and then the contact link right above there. So this is that second part we were talking about. So first you get somebody to your site. Second part, you get their email address and their contact info so that you can follow up with them. So let's relate this back to law. So when I first talked about this topic, I was in Boston last year, said, okay, well, let's do an example. So let's type in Boston divorce lawyer, and then you can see this is what Google auto-completed for me. So it's the Boston divorce lawyer, reviews, free consultation, blog. I said, okay, well, why don't we look at free consultation? And then this is the search that comes up. So you can see these sites all focus on Boston divorce lawyer. I'm looking at the links here on the left side, Boston family law lawyer. I think you could create a site pretty easily that could rank for Boston divorce lawyer free consultation, and then collect the info from the people as you come here. So this would be a great means, I believe, for you to collect basically free leads from Google, and I think at a decent quantity as well. So this is sort of what you do is you go into Google and then you type in into the search box, and then what it will do is it'll autocomplete based on the popular ones, and then you can kind of pick out, okay, let me take a look at this term and see what it can do for us. Okay, so now when we talk about how we create a site to rank for, so if you want to rank highly for Boston divorce lawyer free consultation, I would recommend doing it on either your blog or a site that uses WordPress. So I would either do a blog on WordPress or a site. You can do this with your traditional site as well. Maybe have your webmaster figure it out. But this is what we've done that's worked well for us. So you can get a plugin, and this is the name of the plugin in the top left. It's actually called WordPress SEO by Yoast. And then you can, what Yoast, our buddy Yoast does is he'll actually walk you through. So when you see focus keywords, so what you do is you type in your focus keywords. So that, again, this would be Boston divorce lawyer, free consultation. And then he'll tell you how your current page is doing. So you see where he's saying your focus keyword was found in article heading, yes, page title, page URL, content. He's telling you where you need to put it. So this is what Joe did very well on the organic mattress thing, is he had this. Joe would have scored very high on this test here. So Yoast is showing you where you sort of want to organize the things on your page for Google, and then you're going to write the articles. You can make a good article because you're sharing your expertise. That's going to show that visitor that, okay, I need to call this guy or this gal. And here's what it looks like. So here's the site that I was just showing you, sort of on the back end where we were ranking. This is one of our sites. We're ranking for affiliate tracking software. This is the product that we're selling. So you can see we got it up in the title there. We've got it in the header. So this is sort of the idea, is that you sort of put it, the term front and center, and you see it in a lot of places. Okay. That was sort of advanced. Here's even easier and a quicker win, is just to win the review sites. This is something I think a lot of attorneys are still not paying a lot of attention to. So if you do pay attention to the review sites, I think you can do really well. A lot of people are familiar with AVO. They've been around, AVVO, been around for a while. From what I've just doing some scans in our area, it looks like a lot of lawyers are not paying too much attention to Yelp, YELP, and Yelp, started out as a restaurant site, so you look for a restaurant, looking for a bar, but really a lot of services now are moving through Yelp. We found our office cleaners through Yelp. When I talked to him, he said, yeah, Yelp drives a ton of business for us, and what they do is, after your sort of first consultation with them, they encourage you to leave a Yelp review. I think a lot of attorneys are leaving this on the table, and I would highly encourage your clients to leave favorable, especially clients who love you, leave favorable reviews for you on these sites, especially Yelp. It just takes them a couple of minutes. And again, these sites, Google really likes review sites because they're impartial third-party reviews, and they'll put these right on the front page too. So this is another way that you can get in front of prospective clients. And this is great because also they will really be pre-sold by reading the reviews. So you can see the top two here, 4.5 stars out of 5, 5 out of 5. So these guys really know what they're doing. And then you can see the third review here, she probably is just not paying too much attention to Yelp, and unfortunately has one bad review, and that kind of kills the ranking. So it wouldn't take you too high. And these are the top 3 rankings that pulled up for me. I think I was looking up family law nearby. So I don't think it'd take too much effort for you just to get a few clients on and have them write just some nice reviews on Yelp. Okay, word on social media. You can spend a lot of time marketing on social media. I would just, from a time management standpoint, just stop. Just don't worry about it. It's from what I found, too time intensive. The return is too low. Focus on the review sites, generating blog articles for Google. I just wouldn't worry about social media too much. What we found, it's a big party. I took a screenshot of my Facebook page yesterday. You can see upper left, you're talking about dial, soap. Lower left here, we've got a happy hour. On the right side, just some somewhat random advertisements. It's just, social media is just more consumer focused. It's hard to get a serious conversation going. You could generate business from social media, but in theory you can generate business from a lot of places. I just don't think it's the highest return. We ignore it mostly at Corralling, other than for sort of entertainment and fun reasons. We just don't look at it as a source of new business. And honestly, if we're looking at reducing info overload, this is sort of public enemy #1 here. So I would eliminate this first, get your other aspects in place, and then you can always come back to social media later on. Okay, now we're going to talk about how can we do an email newsletter to your clients. So what's sort of like the lazy approach. So here's the tip here is that if you can create an RSS newsletter, that's the term, and a lot of email marketing software will support this. What you can do is when you write that new blog post, so we were talking about Boston Divorce Lawyer, free consultation, if we turn that into a blog post, you could also then turn it into an email newsletter which goes out to your clients, and it'll go out automatically. So as soon as you write the post, it's going to go out to all of your clients via email. Here's the setting in MailChimp. The important thing to remember here is just that it's called an RSS feed to a newsletter. So whatever email marketing software you use, you can look for this. But if you can find this and if they support this is the way that you can set up your blog directly to your email newsletter, so that you'll only have to do one thing. That's sort of the theme of the day here is we only want to do something once and then get as much leverage for it as possible. So in this case, you can write one article and then turn it into a blog post that Google likes. You can turn it into an email newsletter, so it's working for you. And then we're going to have another way that you can reuse this later as well. So we're getting a lot of leverage from just one activity. That's it. So this is the theme: is we just want to. We're actually regifting. Like the toaster, the fruitcake you get over the holidays that you don't want. Here's a way to sort of re-gift or repurpose that initial newsletter. So here's the third way that we want to do it. So we've written the blog post that is being looked at by people coming into our site, and then we've repurposed that into an email newsletter. So we've gotten one bang from it, two. Now the third is that for new leads that come in, this is perfect for them. So when someone comes up in your site a year from now, why not just send them this newsletter as either a welcome or something to sort of stay in front of them. So here's a case where this is what we do. We actually, between you and us, we actually do recycle old product announcements because, well, it's new to this person. So these have been very successful for us. We don't do it forever, but you can. The articles that we're talking about here, you could rerun these for months or years into the future, and then it's new to that person because they're new to your list. So this is sort of the sequence that it's called an autoresponder. So you can set this up automatically. When you get the contact info, you can send that out to that person. And then we're going to talk about that a little in a minute. So the recommended tools, the tools that we use here, we use a product called Infusion Soft, which is fairly advanced, but will allow you to do these types of follow-up sequences. We have a MailChimp account and have used it from time to time. If you're getting started, I would recommend MailChimp as probably the easiest way to get started. Not as advanced in terms of what you can do with Infusionsoft, but you can always upgrade there. And then we actually created a product that we're now taking to market called LeadDyno, which allows for some simplified follow-up as well and forms. So let me just give you a quick look at these three. So what Infusionsoft, here's the cool thing about Infusionsoft is when I was sort of finishing up the slides yesterday, I took a screenshot. This is everything that's happened that Infusionsoft has done for me over the last hour. So it shows what emails have been sent out by me, again, automatically. This is all just sort of happening in the background. So you see we've got a fair amount of activity that's always happening that I don't have to do. So for me, like, that's my idea of time management, is that you set this once and then it just runs, and you could be doing something else. You could be taking the afternoon off, and the important thing is that your machine is still running. So people are still reading your emails, they're responding to them, and then you can sit back and kind of feel the responses. Look at MailChimp. So MailChimp is a good one too. They have a free account. And then our product, LeadDyno, let me show you. Here's an example. So in terms of sort of the snake eating its own, feeding pond itself here, this is the idea, is that when we have signups come in, we send them an automatic email back. So I don't have to be there waiting for them and then fire the email. The software sends it out itself. So it'll say, "Hi, Chris, thanks for signing up. Here's how to get started. Here's how you can do this," and then give us a call. And then all we have to do, we'll send out a few of these progressively, talking about different topics. We just sort of sit back and wait for the replies, and then we can handle specific cases as they come in. So let's switch gears here, talk about email. So we're going to 5 tips, techniques that we use here in terms of getting a handle on email, which is, I know, the bane of many people's existence. 1, like to keep the inbox empty. We'll talk about how to do that. the inbox I like to only keep for stuff that you have to do right now, because you, whether you like it or not, you kind of use it as your to-do list, so you might as well just keep the emails there that you have to do that day. Other than that, though, it's really good if you can file stuff away. So if you decide not to act on something immediately, file it into a folder, and then you can batch process those items later. So sort of what this helps you do when you go to that folder later, you build momentum as you do your follow-up emails, you tackle related items, and it goes a long way sort of preserving your sanity, because you have you don't have this unofficial to-do list stacked up in your inbox. So it really helps your stress levels. When you want to do something, you just click in that folder if we're talking about Microsoft Outlook, or that label if we're talking about Gmail, and then you can batch process those items as you go. Even better is if you can use rules to auto-file emails. I'm showing Gmail here, but Outlook has the same features, just a little more complicated. But they're called, I believe they're called rules, if I remember correctly, in Outlook as well. So you can create certain criteria. So here what I'm going to say is I'm going to say, okay, any emails that I get in from TechnoLawyer, which is a technology newsletter for attorneys, most of you are probably familiar with. So I'm going to say, okay, what I want to do with TechnoLawyer is I'm going to apply a label, and I'm also going to have it skip the inbox, which is the top checkbox there. That's sort of the important part, because then I don't have to see the email until I'm ready to look at it. When it hits the inbox, if I see it, I'm going to be distracted. So the idea here is have as much stuff skip the inbox as you can, especially if it's stuff that it might be important, but it's not urgent, so you don't have to look at it right now. So this will help a lot with your sanity, because your Gmail, your Outlook won't be blowing up all the time. So you can just sort of look at these particular items when you're ready to tackle them. And then one other tip that's available, I know, in Gmail is if you click on, if you have a message open, this is sort of a good practice. So if something hits your inbox and you say, well, this really, and it sort of takes some discipline to say, well, this doesn't really need to hit my inbox. In the upper right, you can hit the drop down that says filter messages like these, and this is what will kick up the rule wizard that we just showed. So say filter messages like these, and then you can go through these steps to say, okay, in the future, I don't want to go to my inbox, send it directly to this folder. Okay, dialing down the send receive, so depending how your email is set up on Outlook, if you have set up on POP, you can say when you want to send receive. So you can probably dial this quite a bit down. I don't quite agree with like the 4-hour work week philosophy that you can get away with checking it twice a day. Maybe you can. It doesn't work for me. But I think if you go to once, even once an hour, is a lot better for your sanity, and it doesn't really detriment your responsiveness. So you're still going to be very responsive to clients, even if you're only looking at stuff once an hour. But you can get a lot done in that hour in between. Then, of course, if you're on a web-based mail, you probably want to close the window or sort of hide it back behind other things. Fewer emails, so you don't turn into a case of email volleyball, as our friend Val Kilmer here is showing. So it's a lot easier to get away with not sending as many emails on nights and weekends if you do have your autoresponder and those automated emails set up. So dialing down the amount of outbound stuff that you send on nights and weekends is also going to decrease the amount of inbound activity that you get. So if you want less emails on nights and weekends, the easiest way to do that is just send less, and then have your filters have everything going into a folder. And here's an example of that email follow-up. So this can go out on my behalf. I don't actually have to send this out. Talking about nights and weekends, a lot of us don't have our computers on hand. We're doing our work from tablets, smartphones. So I like to file. I like to file stuff away and not necessarily reply to it. I have trouble typing on my phone. It just takes me forever. I'd rather do it often from a computer. It's just a lot more effective. So you can either star at night. If I need to do something first thing, I'll just star the email and then archive it so I can look at it when I get in first thing in the morning. You can also file it into folders. You have certain folders that you're going to look at early in the day, so you can do that as well. So I like the smartphone and the tablets for filing rather than replying to everything as it comes in, especially if you don't have to reply to it on the spot. And then so our third and final portion here, so we've talked about automating our marketing and biz dev. We talked about getting a handle on email. So now what we want to do for the interruptions that come in, we want to make sure we get paid for those interruptions. So we all know the best way to keep time if we're billing hourly, or even if we're not, you're doing fixed fee, but we want to track how much time we're putting in in each client, is we want to keep time contemporaneously, basically as we work. And then I'm sure you've seen some of these studies, so that attorneys on average work 3 hours to bill 2, and the reason is that you could be in the office for 10 hours or longer, 12 hours, and then you go back at the end of the day and you're only able to find 6 or 8. So we did a survey, and we surveyed, it was about 500 solo and small firm attorneys. This is going back a couple of years, but I assume it's about the same, if not maybe might be a little, even a little more challenging now with smartphones and everyone being distracted. But at that time, they were, attorneys on average were losing about 2 hours a week of legitimate billable time, and then another 2 hours they were spending reconciling time with, and the longer you wait, the more time you'd lose, and then the longer it would take to reconcile also. So after the fact, it's very tough. Daily is probably the best that you see, and then people do it weekly, monthly. It just gets very tough after the fact. So our solution at Corralling then is to keep time passively. Even if you are keeping time as you go, we'll keep time passively for you. So you're sort of running this in the background, and then you're working, and then we've got a record of what documents you were in, what emails did you send, what calls did you take on your smartphone. So the idea is that, okay, well, we know we can't get rid of email completely, so we might as well get paid to send email. Let's capture this. Let's get this onto a bill. So for email, we'll do plugins for Outlook or Gmail that will capture the subject line of the email and then also the to from, so that what you can do is you can take the email that you send, take the amount of time which was being captured for you passively by the software, and then you can create a time entry from that and get it onto your timesheet or onto an invoice. So we want to make sure that we accurately account for this email time. It is being an interruption, but we want to do that and then do it without you having to remember, because email, as you know, you're just kind of firing it off. You're not really paying attention to each individual time entry. So we want that. This is part of the automation. We want the automation to do that for you. And then as well on the phone calls, you're taking a phone call. You might be walking out to your car on your mobile phone. It's tough to account for mobile time. So what we're going to do there is we've got apps for Android and iPhone that can do that for you. So again, take the mobile call, get it onto a timesheet, and then the same with other computer and mobile-based time. So if you're drafting a document in Microsoft Word or Adobe Reader, the Adobe Suite, we want to make sure that the amount of time spent is also being captured accurately and then translated onto a bill. So the final tip here, and this is more, I guess, about getting paid, but so we'll, but all of course, very important. So invoices delivered via email, they just get paid faster. So one of the best practices today. So if you're not already doing it, you want to, in addition to the snail mail, you got to do the email over to the client. So either do it as an attachment or a direct email over to them. And then invoices that can be paid electronically, these are getting paid much faster. So the services you want to look at for this are LAWPay, which focuses on the legal vertical, PayPal, which you're probably familiar with. And how this works is, and I'm going to show you our invoicing tool, but many in the industry will do this, where when we send out an invoice, see those buttons on the bottom, it says Pay Now via PayPal or LAWPay. So this comes in your client's inbox, and here's your itemized invoice. What they do is they click one of the buttons below, and then that's going to take them to their PayPal account, and then they can pay you on the spot. So you can get the invoice paid within minutes rather than days or weeks or months, and then not have to worry about chasing them down. You can do some of the follow-up on via email as well if it hasn't been paid yet. But allowing them to pay electronically is just really going to speed up that process.